I got a team wipe with all 21 weapons in the finals. Yes, that includes melee weapons, the throwing knives, and even the MGL grenade launcher. I set myself on a mission to get one team wipe with every gun and weapon. I finished off all 3 players on a team before they could respawn or get revived. I did not use recon, get kills with gadgets, or even play with friends to help. I wanted this challenge to be as authentic and painful as possible. Originally, my goal was to just have some fun, but I quickly began learning a lot more than I anticipated. Today, I'm here to share some of my findings. I started off with the light class. If you can believe it, the easiest weapons for me to get were the dagger, sword, V9S, and SR86 sniper rifle. I was able to get those team wipes way faster than I was with the other weapons. I don't want to give sole credit to only those weapons. Light's movement and kit was so fluid that those weapons make for great team wiping weapons. Team wiping was definitely more difficult than I originally thought it would be. I had countless fights where I would get 4 to 5 kills and not get a team wipe. Many games I had 20 to 30 kills and 0 team wipes. I immediately learned executing a team wipe required me to play differently than I usually would. Team wiping required me to track players down and quickly. I think this is the reason fast killing weapons on light class were ideal for this. I could easily hunt down my targets and finish them off swiftly. The weapon I unexpectedly had the most fun on was the SR86 sniper rifle. Unfortunately, the shots don't always align perfectly with your crosshair, so quick scoping was frustrating at first, but overall the sniper was just one of my favorites to use and so satisfying to land kills with. I'll have a video out very soon discussing this crosshair issue, but I don't want to hone in too much on that issue. The dagger and sword were both incredibly fun to play with. The only note I have is that the dagger's backstab definitely can be inconsistent at times. Sometimes you'll seemingly hit someone from behind and not be granted the backstab bonus damage, and other times you'll hit someone from the front or side and deal all 320 damage. A little inconsistent, but it didn't ruin the experience for me. The XP54 and M11 were solid and easy to pick up weapons. I did struggle a little with the M11's reload time and recoil occasionally. I had tons of double kills, and the last player would either die before I could finish them off or escape until a teammate coined. I think out of all the times I choked the 3rd kill, the M11 probably took the trophy. The kickback on the M11 also shocked me initially and definitely cost me some potential kills. The LH1 also has significant kick to it. Thankfully, this kick can sometimes help align for some easy headshots and not ruin your tracking as much. I would say it's not as beginner friendly of a weapon because like other weapons, if you're not consistently landing headshots, this gun may feel weak and frustrating. I'm not the sharpest shooter, so I ended up hip firing a lot more than I should have, but like all the others, I eventually cleaned a team. The throwing knives were a unique experience. They're a super high risk, high reward weapon, but I must admit the payout for landing hits doesn't quite feel worth it at times. Landing hits with the throwing knives is a lot more challenging than it looks. They have a unique travel speed and arc differently than any other weapon. I think they'd be more balanced if body damage was increased by maybe 5 to 10 per knife, but the headshot damage was kept the same. The throwing knives are definitely the coolest weapon in the game, especially with the playing card skin. I mean, come on, you gotta give it to these devs. They hit a home run on this skin. Landing kills with them is probably the best feeling in the entire game. The weapon that needs the most discussing is the f***ing SH1. It should be a criminal punishment to use this weapon. I'm not sure if Embark knows this, but the SH1 is a shotgun. So if I shoot somebody directly in the chest, standing right in front of them twice, just maybe they should possibly, probably, potentially have a scratch on them. The amount of times I would hit my enemies with 2 shots directly in their chest and they would just brush it off like a fly landed on them was inhumane. Just like the sniper, the SH1 is a great perpetrator of pellets not firing where you're aiming. It's even more amplified when you're using a shotgun. You're moving around a lot, mantling, navigating through debris, and have multiple close-range enemies, so your crosshair is bouncing all over the place. But playing this made me realize the nerfs to the SH1 a few patches ago were probably too harsh. Before those nerfs, I loved using the SH1. It felt like a fluid weapon, but on current patch, this was just painful and not fun forcing myself to do this. Countless interactions of hitting 2 direct shots close range, just not killing mediums or heavies drove me insane. Hands down, the easiest and most fluid weapon on light class was the V9S pistol. This gun feels and plays like butter. This gun feels like it was made exclusively for the light class. The range, handling, reload, and fire rate all felt perfect to me. If you want to feel like John Wick, play the light class and bring the V9S pistol. It is the most fluid, fun, and smooth experience in the finals. I cannot emphasize how solid this weapon is. It's easy to pick up and it's satisfying as hell to dominate with. In general, the light class was probably the most fun, but that's coming from a heavy one trick. I have never played this much light, so it was definitely an eye-opening and fun experience. I will admit sometimes it felt like 150 HP was too little, but I think in part my lack of agility and awareness was to blame. Light forces you more than any other class to be aware of your surroundings and every decision you make. Light to me is the highest risk, highest reward class, so it's no wonder there's so many lights in casual game modes, but ranked they're scarce. On to mediums. As I stated in the intro, I didn't want to use recon. The F-card was so easy it felt like cheating even without recon. If you're struggling with recoil control or consistent damage output as a medium player, pick up the F-card. It's an entirely different game using this weapon. The AKM is a personal favorite of mine. Wasn't too difficult to land a team wipe. The AKM, I think, is a well-rounded and balanced weapon, but you guys have to let me know if that's a hot take. I think personal preference is definitely a big factor when it comes to the AKM. The CL40 launcher is just a flat-out fun weapon. If you want to have fun with some friends, just all bring the CL40 and mess around. Like my first two weapons, landing a team wipe with the CL40 was surprisingly easy. Even if you're not taking advantage of the AoE damage, it's great for duels or just poking at mid-ranges. In terms of fun, this gun is an easy 10 out of 10, would recommend. The R357 revolver is a fun to use weapon, but if you're like me and struggle landing headshots, this one might be a little frustrating at first. You cannot kill a light with 2 body shots, and you can't kill a medium with 3 body shots. This alone makes the weapon a little frustrating when you're trying to finish someone off and they're just 10 HP, but you can't land the last shot. If you have good accuracy and can click heads, pick up the 357 for some fun. Now, if you're like me and struggle with headshots, then the Model 87 has got to be your go-to weapon for fun and overall handling. The Model 87 cannot headshot, and it's so consistent, satisfying, and easy to learn. I cannot recommend it enough. Unfortunately, I don't have the sick Doe Wrangler skin, but if you want to feel like a cowboy whipping the entire lobby around, that skin is a must. This was another easy and fun weapon to get a triple kill with. Now, what's absolutely the opposite of fun is the riot shield. Don't get me wrong, bopping a few guys on the head is fun for a little, but man, I could not for the life of me get a team wipe with this weapon. My conclusion is that on light class, you have dash, mobility, and invisibility to track down the last opponent, like we discussed earlier. Medium does not have this benefit with a melee weapon, so every time I got myself a double kill, I could never find the last man on the team. Naturally, if you see 2 teammates die in one spot to a melee weapon, you're not going to rush in as a light or a medium player. Countless times I'd get 2 kills, see their teammate, and they just run away. Staying true to this challenge, I did not use grenades or count my teammates killing anybody. I wanted to secure all 3 kills myself, or I was not counting it. But with just hours of struggling, desk slamming, losing my sanity, giving up, trying again, failing, and some more struggling, I was able to secure a team wipe with the riot shield. Also, just wanted to say, if the enemy is running a heavy, give up on this challenge immediately. Swinging 5 to 6 freaking times just to kill one person standing still is just awful. If you want to speedrun deeply negative thoughts, pick up the riot shield and try to land a team wipe. For even quicker results, do it against a team with heavies and mediums. Medium was the easiest class to get team wipes with overall. Granted, mediums only have 6 weapons compared to the 9 on light class. Medium is just so consistent, 1v3ing is definitely easiest for them. The only exception being riot shield, which again I cannot stress enough was an absolute nightmare to pull off. As a heavy main, getting team wipes with the SA-12 shotgun and Lewis gun were relatively easy. It was definitely eye-opening doing my main role last because it made me appreciate the Lewis gun deeply. Maybe it's because I'm used to the recoil pattern and playstyle, but landing multi-kills was the easiest for me with these guns. They both have great burst potential at close range, which is how you gotta play for team wipes, so it makes sense they'd be the easiest. The flamethrower actually wasn't too much of a struggle. In my case here, I didn't end up dying, but as long as you're playing near an indoor cash out, people bundling up makes for easy multi-kills. The only struggle with the flamethrower is somehow taking down a heavy without prior chip damage. Just like the riot shield, killing a heavy can take a few moments, but overall, as long as you're forcing indoor engagements, the flamethrower is a pretty fun weapon. Another fun one was the hammer. Now, after seeing the pain and agony associated with the riot shield, you would think the hammer would prove similarly difficult, but I think having heavy's extra health pool and being able to one-hit lights and two-hit combo mediums makes for significantly easier kills. Sneaking up on somebody pretty much guarantees that kill unless they're a heavy. The hammer is always a lot of fun, but just like the flamethrower, you have to force indoor engagements while playing around shields and corners. Playing out in the open leaves you very slow and vulnerable. I'm not going to lie, one of the most underrated guns in this entire set was the M60 LMG on heavy. This gun shreds through players, and I think it was so easy for me to frag with this weapon due to the fact I was forcing close to mid-range encounters this entire challenge. Obviously, at mid to long ranges, the M60's recoil is too uncontrollable and going to make you lose most engagements or duels, but if you can force closer ranges or manage the recoil decently, you may be surprised how fast this gun shreds through people. Definitely a fun one that made me want to play it more. Now, the absolute hardest yet fascinating weapon in the heavy class, the MGL-32 grenade launcher. At first, I thought a team wipe would be entirely impossible with this weapon. Unlike its counterpart, the medium CL-40, the MGL's grenades do not explode on impact. They also do not seem to do more damage either. The only advantage of this grenade launcher is that it has 6 grenades per mag. Even though that's true, and it did take me forever to get a team wipe, I was genuinely surprised with the kill potential of the MGL-32. After a couple games, you get used to bouncing grenades off the walls and finding a suitable strategy. Waiting for people to group up, especially near corners or on top of cash outs, actually made for some surprisingly easy double kills. People who are pocketing each other near a wall make for easy targets, but unfortunately, I immediately ran into the same issue I had with the riot shield, flamethrower, and others. Getting a double kill was no problem. In fact, within a few minutes of using it for the first time, I was dropping double kills, but securing that last kill felt impossible. Even if the last person was standing right in front of me, dodging the grenades is incredibly easy when it's predictable. That's why for most of my clips, I was either hiding away from the fight or above the fight. When people aren't expecting raining grenades, you can get some pretty cheeky kills, but this ended up being another gun that took me literally hours to secure a team wipe, but I was able to with enough persistence. I would not wish this challenge upon my worst enemy. Do not try it unless you're on a speed run to shatter your monitor.